Welcome everyone to another episode of Close to Broke. It's an absolute pleasure to have you all here. I want to wish you all a very, very happy new year. Many blessings to you all, and hopefully you all run good in life and also at the tables. This, by far and away, is the most psychotic episode ever, honestly, probably on the entire poker vlog stratosphere. Just wait, buckle up, get ready, because this episode is absolutely no joke. Either way, starting the shenanigans off nice and early, we're playing here at the bike in the private game that I run. We're playing 5, 10, 20, and I think literally the 20 is on for the entire night. It gets even more ridiculous as the night goes on, but in this very first hand, we look down at King 7 offsuit. There's a double straddle onto $40. I'm in the cutoff, and I decide to raise to $120. Not the best hand in the world to raise with, but considering I know the people around me are pretty interesting, honestly, this could be the nuts for all we know. Either way, the button decides to make the call, and with the action folding over to the straddler, he decides to just blind all in here to $500. With the action back over to me, considering that there is a small chance that my opponent to my left has a big one, I am a little worried, but to be quite honest, I think that I can get a ton of better hands like ace highs or middling kings to fold. So against a blind all-in, I'm probably doing pretty good against that, and with the amount of dead money in the middle, I think that I would be a fool not to at least go for it. So in this specific instance, although there's not a whole lot of rhyme or reason going on here, I think the best thing I can do here, if I am going to try to attach any of that to this, is to just try to get this heads up. I decided to rejam here for about $3,000. The opponent to my left laughs it off a little bit before deciding on a fold. Alright, so all we have to do is beat a blind hand, which can't be that hard, right? Either way, it ends up coming deuce, 10, deuce, turn jack, river king, bink, but our opponent peels a king. Oh my goodness, now this is not good. Well, luckily for us, we peel a 3 here, and our opponent is actually lucky enough to see that river there, as we were a favorite just slightly to scoop that pot. Either way, shenanigans and all aside, fun way to get this started off. Okay, I just want to preface this next hand by saying we've been playing for about 45 minutes to this point, and I cannot exaggerate. I've been 3-bet every single time I've opened, except for the first time I opened it up with King 7 offsuit. Granted, they saw that I raised with King 7 offsuit, but I have been 3-bet, and this is not an exaggeration, 8 times. 8 times from an open. And I've defended a couple times and had to fold some other times. So this next hand opens off with a straddle under $20. I decided to raise it up here to $60 for middle position with ace 3 of hearts. There are 2 calls, and then the button decides to 3-bet me to $300. With the action back over to me, I think this is a great hand to use as a 4-bet to clack it back. I decided to just make it $700 here as a 4-bet bluff. Unfortunately, our opponent does not have too much behind, with only about 1,300 behind, although I want to make it look like I'm super strong and willing to commit my entire stack, because I am now committed if he jams. It's kind of like that reverse thing. Either way, the action folds over to the button player, and he thinks about it, does a little bit of Hollywooding before deciding to put it in the middle. At this point, I realize that unfortunately, my hand has been caught in the cookie jar, and unfortunately, in this world, I won't be just getting a scolding. I'm going to have to put my money where my mouth is and have to run out some boards. He announces ace king, and we decide to run out 2 full boards. The first board comes out jack 8, 10, no help for us. Turn 9 and a river 8 is once again absolutely no help. The second board comes out 5, 4, 10, flopping us a gutter ball, not too bad. The turn card comes the Queen of Hearts, adding even more outs. All of that comes to none as the river card falls a 5 of clubs. We end up losing this big pot here off rip. 2 all-ins in a row here, both of them not going fully our way. Man, what is happening? We've got to interrupt today's ridiculous episode with some even more ridiculously positive news. As you guys know, I have been known, or have done in the past, several WSOP giveaways. It's that time of year, y'all. I'm going to be hosting that WSOP giveaway once again, third year running, I'm going to have several of you fly out, stay in an Airbnb, hang out with me, hang out with the C2B crew, as well as play in a live tournament here at the WSOP with your chance at a bracelet. All of that will be, of course, taken care of. So this is your chance at an opportunity to win. Here's the rules of this year's contest. You do have to make a 60-second to 90-second long video and send that over to this email here at c2bpoker@gmail.com. Or if you guys want to click the link, you guys can click the link at the description there for the email. As well as two very important things. You have to obviously be a subscriber to my channel and a subscriber to the C2B podcast channel as well. Yeah, seems like a small thing to ask for an opportunity at, you know, life-changing sums of money, or at the very least hanging out in Vegas during the summer in a pool at an Airbnb. I mean, that sounds pretty great. Either way, speaking of C2B podcasts, our new episode drops today. It's out right now. It's a fun episode with myself and the crew. We have a guest on there as well. Either way, let's throw it back to the video because we have quite a few more hands to go over. Well, a little bit of port time digression won't stop me from continuing to press forward. Although I don't hate my 4-bet in the last hand, I do hate the outcome. Either way, the $80 straddle is on in this very next hand. When I look down at Queen 8 of clubs here from the button, I make it $200 to go. The $80 straddler just decides to jam it all in for 1K. Well, I've invested 1/5 of his stack, and sure, maybe I don't have to call here every time. Matt has been going all in secretly blind in a ridiculous amount. And considering that there is at least a reasonable chance that he hasn't looked at his 2 cards, I think that spinning it up here is not the worst idea in the world, so I decided to throw in the call. And we're looking pretty good when the flop comes King 8-8. We flop trips on the first board. Turn card comes a 5 of hearts, and the river card comes the 9 of spades. Well, we still have another board to fade or to hit. The second board once again comes really favorable as it comes ace 4-3 with 2 clubs. We flop ourselves a flush draw. The turn card comes a 4 of diamonds, and the river card comes out face down, and we let Matt, Mr. Armenian Matt, flip it over, and he peels a queen of diamonds. All right, that is what we like to see. So at least we have ourselves a pair, and it is at this point with Matt, and lets us all know that he is 100% all in blind for this hand. So looks like once again we have found a way to get it in a good spot. Well, he peels 1 card over at a time. The first card comes out a 3, so he does have himself a pair here. Looking to fade it, and the second card is a deuce of spades. Oh man, we're going to go ahead and take down that $2,000+ pot. Well, we've been finding a way to battle and battle through. In this next hand, we are playing the stand-up game, and it is a $100 penalty, or bounty, I should say, if you are the last one to sit down, which means that's $900 that you have to pay out to the table. I'm not forking up that kind of money, at least not without a fight. In this next hand, late position makes it 80, small blind calls, and I look down at pocket 8s here. Honestly, I'm just like, what do I even do here? I think, sure, we can try to play this as regular as possible, but with the fact that there is only 2 people left standing, and the person to my right is one of those few people still left standing, I think my best bet here is just to go all in and not have to be forced to pay this bounty. There's actually 3 of us left. Sorry, I misspoke there. But all of that being said, I don't want to pay this bounty. I have a pair, and against somebody that just calls here and a guy that isn't looking at his cards, it's probably best to just try to take this down. I decided to just jam it all in here for about $1,400. And luckily for us, both players end up folding. So we're 4 for 4 on getting it all in pre-flop or on the flop or whatever here. Not great. This is some really, really volatile poker, but at the very least, we don't have to pay that horrific, nearly $1,000 bounty. Here we are once again with some more straddles going around. There's a $40 straddle going. There's a couple of limps when it gets to me here in the hijack. I decide to isolate it to $250. The action heads over to Armenian Matt, who is in said $40 straddle, who once again decides to jam it all in here for $1,500. With the action folding back to me, and since I'm holding ace-king, I'm just never, ever folding here. I'm going to need to see a really good therapist at the end of this session because we've been just getting all in all the time, maximum pain. absolutely ridiculous here. I end up making the call, over $3,000 pot, going in the middle. We decide to run 2 boards out. The first board comes out 4 of hearts, 10 of hearts, 5 of hearts, not really great for me. And at this point, the turn card comes at 3 of hearts, and Matt shows 9-7 of hearts. Oh no. River's inconsequential, but does come in ace of spades, removing some of my equity here. And we're going off to a second board that comes out, you would not believe it. Queen 10-6. Turn absolutely crushes me once again, bringing the king of hearts. Oh my goodness. The river card comes at jack of hearts as well, just to absolutely stick a nail in my coffin. Oh my goodness. Today just is not going my way in no way, shape, or form. We have been all in 5 hands in a row, and we are not doing a good job of winning these damn things. Let's see if we can't continue to keep getting our money in the middle and not improving or winning. In this very next hand, we were playing a $50 bomb pot per player, 9 ways. That's $450 going to the middle. And the flop on the top board comes out 9-3-10, and the bottom board comes out 6-8-king. There is a flush draw on both boards, and after some action gets put through, as middle position decides to bet $450, I should say. The button makes a call, early position makes a call, and the action now falls on me, and at this point, I look down on my hand, and I am licking my chops. We look down at 10-10, 3 deuce. Yes, that is flopped top set, or, for lack of better terms, the nuts on the top board. Not a whole lot working for me in the second board, but we do also have a flush draw to go along with our top set. All of that being said, I decided to just rip my stack in here for what is equivalent to about $2,500 or $3,000 effective with the remaining players that are still left to act. All of that comes down to a middle position player deciding to stick his money in the middle, which is about $1,500. The button sticks his stack in the middle as well. Early position does fold, so at least one person is getting out of there. We're looking at about a $5,000 total pot here, with about 3.5 in the main and about $1,500 on the side. The top board runs out with the 4 of spades and the 7 of spades, so we don't have the nuts any longer here as there are some straights available. The bottom board comes out with the ace of spades and the 5 of diamonds. Doesn't really help us in any way either. All of that being said, I do expose my hand, and we end up at least securing the top board here, as our opponent's going to take the bottom board with 9-7 for the straight. Our other opponent cannot expose his hand as he doesn't beat either one of us, so we're going to end up chopping up this pot, or at least winning a pretty sizable one at that. Nearly $2,500 going my way. All right, well, it wasn't the whole pot, but if you can't take a scoop, it's damn sure as hell better to take at least half of this thing. I'm realizing as I'm compiling today's episode and all these hands that there's not a whole lot of education going on today. It's mostly just watching us spin the lottery. So sorry for that, but I think this is, at least to me, one of the most entertaining things I've ever looked back and watched. So bear with me, because there's a whole lot more action to come. In this very next hand, there's a $160 straddle on. Yes, you heard that correctly. 160 USD. That's pretty much equivalent to the euro from what I understand. Now, either way, I'm no economist. In this next hand, cutoff makes it $350 to go. I look down at King 10 of clubs here. Our opponent's paying about $1,500 effective. I'm in the small blind, and I decided to just crank this price up. I 3-bet to 1K here. Ends up folding all the way around. There's so much dead money in the middle here. It'd be great if our opponent folds, and if not, hopefully we have some equity against him. He ends up jamming for $1,500. That's just how the day is gone. Why not go 7 for 7 all-ins? I end up making the call here as we're getting an amazing price to call, and it's hard for us to be absolutely drawing stone dead. Either way, our opponent and I decided to run out 2 boards, and the first board looks pretty good to me as it comes King 3-9. Turn card is a 4 of clubs, giving me even more equity if I happen to be behind, and then the river card comes a 7 of spades. It's at this point that my opponent says that he has a set. Oh my goodness, that doesn't sound good. At least we know now he has a pair. The second board does not improve us in any way, and our opponent says that he has pocket 7. So really, really nasty way to lose that one there, getting rivered, but as it goes, live and die by the flip, I guess, will be today's episode, because that's just what the theme of today's episode is. All right, let's see if we can finally play some poker. In this next hand, there's an $80 straddle on. There's quite a few limpers to me with so much money in the middle, and sitting here with $1,700 or $1,600 in my stack, whatever the case may be. We look down at ace queen offsuit. Well, sitting here on the button and like $300-400 in the middle, that is just absolutely stone dead. I think I'd be an absolute fool not to go for it here, and my hand is good. I decided to just throw my all-in button here in the middle. 1,700 to win 400 sounds pretty reasonable to me. We're pretty much playing craps at this point, as I only have about 20 big blinds. Either way, a good friend of the vlog, AB, asks if I want some action, and I respond with, you know, hey, I'm stuck. Yeah, I want some action. He ends up throwing in the all-in as well, having me covered. And then the limper from late position out of nowhere makes a call and asks if I have aces. That is literally never a good sign. He ends up letting me know he has pocket kings. But luckily for us, the board comes out ace high on the first run out. Until the turn card comes, the dreaded king of spades. Oh my goodness. The river card is inconsequential, but just comes an ace to rub salt in the wound. The second board comes out with 2 jacks, a 5, an 8, and a 4. That doesn't sound like any of the cards that I'm holding. Unfortunately, the old limpity-dimpity with the pocket Kirons is going to play a massive role in doubling up my opponent here. Unfortunately for me and AB, we've got a whole lot of nothing to show for it. Well, here we go, y'all. Let's see if we can go every single hand all in. Well, I mean, we pretty much have. Every single important hand has gotten all the money in the middle, and if you guys are counting, things are just not going well for us. In this next hand, there is a $20 straddle on. Middle position makes it $75 to go, or I should say 70, excuse me. The small blind calls, and the third blind calls, and I'm in the fourth blind, or the straddle, and I look down at ace-jack offsuit. Against all these specific opponents, I think it'd be a great idea to isolate raise here. So I 3-bet it up to $400. I need to make it a little bigger. People have just been calling way too wide here pre-flop. So I've got to penalize them. Only the initial raiser calls, and we're going out to a flop that comes ace, 6, deuce, rainbow. Super dry board. We flop top pair. It's hard for us to be behind here. I decided to throw out a bet of $375. I don't like my bet size. I think going a little smaller, like even $275, makes more sense. We want to rope and dope our opponent in this hand. Like I said, the likelihood is we have the best hand here. It's always tough playing out of position, though, if I'm being quite fair and quite honest to myself. The problem with being out of position is that, you know, we're not in position. Either way, our opponent thinks about it for some time and then inevitably decides to make a really disciplined fold. I don't know what he had. Maybe he was thinking some mischievous thoughts and looking to get carried away with the bad hand. But happy to take one down here to close out the first part of today's session. This next episode is going to be an absolute crusher because we have 10 or so more hands to go over, and it's not so much of gambling and crapshoots. There is some more all-ins, but a lot of what's going on in the next episode is a ton of fun. Although we got absolutely whacked in this first half of the session, maybe we can make a big comeback in the second. Either way, only time will tell. I appreciate you all for stopping by today. A massive thank you to everyone that's joined in the episode and the C2B family. It's a pleasure to have you all here. The one thing I will ask you guys to do is before you leave is click the like button, drop a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. This new year comes a whole lot of more responsibility and opportunity at growth. So for us to continue defining the want and the need to post, I'd be really appreciative if you guys can reciprocate the love by dropping some awesome likes and comments and all the good stuff. In the next episode, there's so much more to look forward to. We have the entire rest of the session, and also because this video was already getting super long, we have my entire poker income details as well as my YouTube income details on the next episode. So there's a lot to look forward to. We've got the WSOP giveaway going on once again. There's so much happening. Thank you guys so much for being here and supporting the channel as always. Make sure to tell a friend about it. Word of mouth is powerful. Otherwise, stay happy, stay healthy. More importantly, y'all, we're good at the tables. Deuces.